Hi and welcome to this Project in a Box video session. In this session we're going to have a look at the new features of version 5.2 of our multi-user platform, and that's addressing Live Edition, Enterprise Edition and Small Team Edition implementations. So the new version 5.2 includes 5 new areas of extended areas of functionality. The first is history collection and trend analysis. Second is new pack of standard reports. Third, practical Scrum method. Fourth, integration extensions, and two-factor authentication. So let's have a little look through each of those here, just talking about them in the slides. There's then going to be some more videos that go through and show you, actually demonstrate that functionality to you, and those are the following on couple of videos. So just taking all that fairly quickly here. History and trends. So you have a load of properties that are sat within your system, stored at the project level. These are things like the number of open risks, the end date of the project, who the project manager is, what the project status is, what the spend is currently on the project, those things. And they're all harvested for you from all the systems in the tool, from your files like finance spreadsheets, and from your plans, etc., and from forms that people have filled in. And the system's always held just the latest version of those. Now it automatically creates a history. It stores every time that data changes in the system, and it just keeps that forever. So you've got the latest value, but you've also got all the previous values of that data as well. So you're going to build a history up over time, and the system then allows you to have a number of different ways of analysing that. We can analyse that using timelines, and those can be bar charts or traditional timelines, and we see a couple of examples of those here. That can be in analysis windows, or that can be into reporting as well. We also have a couple of other types of analysis. We have a status progression analysis, which is particularly for textual type status information, because often people want to project that in a slightly different sort of way, and we can see one of those running here, showing different colours for the different periods. Of course, you've got a great deal of flexibility about whether you look at daily, weekly, monthly, annually, number of periods, how the periods are grouped together, what happens with missing data. All that sort of complex stuff is handled for you nice and easily. It's all done using saved views, so you can drop a quick analysis onto the data you've got straight away, and then you can go in and tweak that if you need to. That's a live analysis in Windows, and also out to reports. That runs at the project level and the portfolio level, rolling up content from across your set of projects. So it's a really powerful set of functionality, whole load of standard content shipped to you, so you can just run this straight away on your existing projects, and then of course you can personalize it further if you want to. New reporting pack, picking up on quite a lot of that functionality, that trend functionality, but also other things that we've been putting in reports just recently. So we've had a complete refresh of all the reporting set. There are now 61 standard reports, from project and program and portfolio reports to multi-portfolios, which roll up your collections of projects towards an organizational set of figures, and also user type reports as well. So these are just standards. You can run them straight off the shelf against your standard projects, and in fact our standard methods will support all of these. They produce to both Word and HTML formats, and you can personalize them further if you want to. So you can either use the 60 odd that are there straight away, or you can personalize them to match your own needs. And in fact, any of your existing reports for existing customers will still run fine, but there'll be new features that you can drop into them as well. One of the other types of trend analysis we're doing now is these value panels here, which allow you to project either the latest value or compare current value to previous values based on time periods. And these are really nice in terms of setting up sophisticated type reports. Next is practical Scrum method. So we've been delivering DSDM return as an agile method for quite some time. Lots of people use Scrum, and Scrum isn't, I mean, there are lots of ways that people do Scrum. There isn't actually a sort of published standard for Scrum. And lots of people struggle to implement Scrum in large organizations because it doesn't quite fit into the corporate structure, the governance models, the reporting. It's its own thing quite often. So we've put together a practical Scrum method which wraps the traditional Scrum process with perhaps more corporate aligned activities. So you have a more formal launch of the project, you make business cases, you make sure that that's all aligned against corporate objectives, etc. And then at the end you're wrapping up your project against those sort of corporate linings. But in the center, you're running a very traditional Scrum process, collecting a little bit more data so that you can fit into corporate reporting cycles very well. But it's got all your standard Scrum elements, daily Scrum, it's got reporting built in, so it'll run daily Scrum reports for you, bringing together all the latest plan information as well as the product backlog information, etc., sprint backlogs, etc. So really useful, and that's completely free to existing customers and to new customers, of course. Integration extensions. So these are things that particular customers have asked about to help them integrate Project in a Box with their corporate systems. So there's two particular things here. One is a data exporter. So we talked earlier about the block of current properties that you have for your project. Things like the total number of open risks, the end date of the project's current spend, who the project manager is, etc. You can get all that data. It's all in the database. And you can package it up. So this form allows you to package up a collection of projects and a set of properties that you're interested in. And you then store that as a definition, as an export item definition. That export item can then be collected automatically by another system by handshaking a web service. So it makes a request for that export item, and the system will automatically pass over that latest set of data. Of course, that has to be securely handshaked, and you'll then be able to feed into other systems such as SAP and those sorts of things. You can also, though, because we believe in quick implementation and all that sort of handshaking of IT stuff can take a bit of a time to do. So you can set up these same packages, and then you can open them and just copy as a CSV or grab as the XML and transfer it directly if you want to. So it's about getting quickly set up these packages, moving them by hand initially, gets people up and running very quickly, and then you can automate those as you go along in time. So it's about getting the data out and sharing it with other systems. We've also got a new advanced project export form. So previously, at the end of a project lifecycle, people were taking an export of all the documents for that project and dropping it into their knowledge management, their repository of all their documentation in the system. Often people have a QA requirement to collect all this, to archive it over a period of time. Some people need to update those on a more regular basis than that. And so this, rather than doing one project at a time, as the previous form does, we've still kept that previous form because it's really good for that archiving at the end of a project. But this new form allows you to get a set of projects and to send out perhaps just the latest version of the file. And you can send that in a much simpler format, so you can quickly grab blocks of latest files and send them out to another system. So it's really good for that transfer of data again. Finally, but by no means least, two-factor authentication. So we've got a toolkit of security aspects of Project in a Box. That can be running single sign-on, that could be our standard username password, which can be ran in very strong modes with refreshing of passwords required and not allowed to use previous parts of previously used passwords, etc. So you can set all those sort of things, but now you can also set two-factor authentication. And that means once you've finished your username and password, which must be successfully done, it then asks you for some characters from a memorable word which is stored in the system. Admins can't set up your memorable word. If you don't have one, first time you log in and you successfully set up your username and password, it will make you set up a memorable word, and it then asks for digits from that. And that's a very common approach now in more secure environments to run that. You'll be able to choose whether you run two-factor authentication on your browser interface, on your Windows application, on neither, or on both. So it's completely switchable, because some people will have the Windows application running single sign-on, because it's always from desktops and always inside the environment. But the browser interface might want to run two-factor authentication because it's not using single sign-on and people are coming in over the web. So you can fine-tune that to how you want it, and again it has the normal sort of policies around memorable words, etc. So again, just giving you another thing that you can think about using to make your experience more secure. So that's broadly what the new 5.2 is doing. That's available from today for customers who have a current active maintenance contract. In fact, we've already rolled it out with several beta test customers. Of course, existing customers can put their maintenance back in place to access that as well. New customers will get this version automatically from today, and SaaS customers can just let us know when they want us to upgrade, and we'll do that for them. It does require a patch to server and clients. One of the things I would say is we're finding increasingly more and more customers have got a lot of their standard users on the browser interface. Since 5.1 and that new browser interface, which is really easy to use, more and more people are getting their general day-to-day users running on the browser interface, which means of course there's no upgrading issues there. You just update the server and that rolls out straight away when they log onto their browser page. Pricing, we've maintained our pricing from the last few versions, so it's exactly as it would have been before. For most of you existing customers, it's just a question of your support, and for new customers, same prices. Small Team Edition starts at 9,000, Enterprise Edition starts at 5,000, the price per users, and Live Edition at £300 a month, and again, price per users per period. Okay, so hope you found that useful. That's all I wanted to say for now on that new version 5.2. Like I say, if you want to see some of that running in detail, there's a few more videos to come, working our way through actually looking at that, taking our time, exploring it all, and that's really useful for existing customers. Saves you coming back and retraining. You can just pick that up and learn about those new facilities. And in fact, of course, the same videos exist for 5.1 and 5 and all the previous versions as well. Okay, if you've got any questions, just drop us an email and we'll be glad to help. Thank you very much.